Happy Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. Um, I'm going to make this really quick because most of you have a lot to do today. So, we are on session IC 15. It is Thursday, the 3rd of December. And your I can statement is I can determine when an author has set readers up for relationships with characters. If you think back to the basketball story that we've been dealing with for the last several weeks. We're going to go back to that and look at certain parts of it today. Um, that will be the think about it that you're going to do. You'll be doing that with me. And if you have not finished the Learning Farm theme activity, you need to finish that. If you have not submitted it, you need to submit it. If you don't know how to submit it, I'm going to show you once again because many of you did not do it correctly. You need to keep reading because you've got to have your book club books finished by next Friday. And most importantly, today, if you have not started or if you have not completed the iReady MOY, you need to do that today. Now, I have received several emails from you saying it disappeared. It's gone. It's not there. The test is only available during school hours. And I know a lot of you like to work later in the day or at night, which I understand. I do too. But as far as the test goes, it's only available between like 7:30 in the morning and 3:30 in the afternoon. So if you're doing it at any time outside of that, it is not available. And that's what you're running into. So if you've had that problem, go back to it during school hours. That's what your class time is for when I give you that time. But you need to get it done. You're going to have math on Monday, and you are not going to want to have to deal with both of them at the same time. All right, so on the shelf, I still have the Learning Farm activity because many of you have not done it. And I'll talk about your evidence of learning. So let's go to the think about it. And you don't have this. It's not, I did not publish it for you. I may publish it for you. But I'm not sure that it's necessary, and I don't want to confuse you. So, in the think about it, it says, let's do some thinking together about what Matt possibly did to develop our relationship with Dante. Dante, as you'll recall, is the sort of big man on campus, the guy who sort of rules the gym, um, and the person that the character is looking to as, he's the goat. When I'm the goat down on my 8th grade basketball team, he's the goat here at the Muni gym. So there are some moments here we're going to talk about. They're called window moments. You heard me say that the other day. And how Matt, the opinion lets you sort of think or feel about Dante at one moment and then changes it. And that's the tricky thing about this particular author, but a lot of authors do it. And that is that they will make you feel a certain way about a character. And then all of a sudden, bam, that character does something and you go, oh, well, now I feel differently about this person, whether you feel more positively or more negatively. But they lead you down this path, and then all of a sudden they change directions. That's what makes a good story. Always keep the reader guessing. So, in these little excerpts that I'm going to go over, um, they're listed by page number. If you got the digital copy of the story to follow along, you'll be able to find these. You can always just go back and listen if you want to review it. So, the first time we meet Dante, he's 6'4" and thin. In his early 30s, maybe. He's the only guy in the gym who's never said a word to you. So already we know Dante's not friendly. He walks right by like you don't even exist, but he can seriously play. Not only does he knock down almost every jumper he takes, he hardly ever grazes the rim. He has this sweet little fadeaway on the post, And whenever someone tries to challenge him on the break, they get mashed on, posterized, and guys on the sidelines fall all over each other, laughing and stomping and pointing. So his first impression of Dante is that he is unfriendly, but talented, incredibly talented, basically nothing but net for this guy. And that even the people on the sidelines are just so impressed they cannot contain themselves. So this guy is someone to admire, but maybe not someone to like. So then let's move on to the next time we see him here, and it's still the same page. After burying one particular game winner from the wing, two guys draped all over him, he'll turn to you suddenly and bark, "Hey, kid, why you still coming here?" You pause your dribble, stunned. Who? Me? Nobody thinks you're good enough to play here. Comprende? Why don't you go back to the barrio, ese? So now he started talking to you, and he's not very nice. He's saying you're a kid. Why are you even bothering to come here? You're not good enough to play with us. And then he puts a racial slur on it. And I know that for some reason, society does not take racial slurs on Hispanics, on Latinos, as seriously as they do on African Americans, um, because that's at the forefront right now, and it's an important situation, and it is a cause that we have to champion, all of us. But it's a cause for all minorities, and for him to say, "Why don't you go back to the barrio essay?" That's pretty rough. That is pretty rough. So this guy, at this point, I think it's pretty safe to say he's a real jerk. He's intentionally being mean. And then in the first part, it said he's about 30 years old. And he's talking to a 14-year-old child like this? I don't care who the child is, what their ethnicity is, what their purpose is for being there. That's not a way for an adult to talk to a child. So, Dante, yeah, he's not such a good person, is he? So, let's look at the third visit. This is 2 pages later. Check it out. Dante suddenly announces, "The kids got my spot this game." So if you remember in the story, the conversation comes up about being good and wanting to play. The character, see, he just says, I just want to play. So thinking that he's going to be funny and humiliate this child, he says, this kid's got my spot in the game. Then he turns back to you and he says, "After you get smoked, you walk out them doors and never come back." You hear? So you stand there studying him for a few extra beats, searching for his angle. What's he thinking? What's his plan? What's going on? It's confusing to a 14-year-old boy. It would be confusing. Trying to decide if it's some kind of trick, if you're still in danger, before your ruling is in, you find yourself being shoved out onto the court. The other players are happy to play with you. They've seen you play, they've seen some of the things you've done, they think you're okay, they think you're pretty good. So they're fine with it, but they're a little surprised that Dante's giving up his spot because, he's king of the court. So let's move on to the fourth one. And this is another 2 pages later. A stray jumper will roll out of bounds toward you, and Dante will give a chase. Now you're back on the bench. He'll grab the rock and kneel down, not 5 feet from you, to tie his shoe. "Hey, kid," he'll say in a quiet voice. "Yeah?" He'll look up at you, mid double knot. "You want to get in the games? You don't just sit there like a punk, right? You stand up and challenge the baddest dude in the gym, someone like me, then you do your thing. Understand? His intense eyes will be like knives inside your chest. Yes, sir. So in this moment, Dante's changed. He's a different person. He's still gruff. He's still not friendly. And he doesn't want anyone to know because he's speaking in a very low voice. He's pretending to tie his shoes so he can take that moment to talk to the narrator. And he says, if you want in this game, you got to pick on the toughest guy, the best player, and take him on and show him what you can do, even if that's me. So now, instead of being that jerk in the first three things that we saw, he's giving him helpful advice. He's telling him, here's what you need to do to be accepted, to prove yourself, to be one of the guys, and to fit in. And this character never would have expected that from his previous encounters with Dante. But Dante's seen him play, and he knows that you're good. So, can you see how the character shift happened? He started out being a jerk, and he became a bigger jerk, and he became a bigger jerk, and then in the next part, all of a sudden, he's not so much of a jerk anymore. Still a little bit of a jerk because he doesn't want people to know he's being nice. And there are people in the world like that. They have good hearts, but they don't want to show them. They show them privately, not publicly. And Dante is a little bit like that. And if you have finished the story, you know that. And you know what Dante did. And you know that the Dante at the end of the story, he's not the Dante that you saw at the beginning. So he is so dynamic. We talk about static and dynamic characters. Dante is the one who changes the most in this story. He's very interesting. And this is a great story. I hope you enjoyed it. So, nothing for you to do with this, um, but it's sort of like, remember the Be Brave video of the boy painting the graffiti for his sister? And it looks at first like he's doing bad things, and it turns out he's doing a really sweet thing. Kind of the same thing. Our perspective of Dante is very negative at first, and it comes all the way around to where Dante's a really, really good guy. That's what I want you to look for in characters in your books today. I want you to look for that shift in character. I want you to look for when a character changes. Doesn't have to be the main character, just has to be a change in the character. So, to that end, you're going to go to evidence of learning. Using your book club books, I want you to share what you've noticed about how the author was able to make you see and feel different things about a character. Okay? That means I want you to look for those character shifts. What new things a character might have developed that make you think differently or feel differently about that character. Give me specific examples. Now, I did not do a demo page of this. By now, this is the fourth one of these. You should know how to do this. I want you to give me specific examples from the book and explain them. Don't just give me a quote. Tell me what the quote means. Why is it important? Put this in your book club notebook. Please put your name on it. Every time you do a page, your name, the name of the book, the author's name, and the session. So it's your name, Loop by Ben Oliver, session IC 15. And I would call it character shifts or something. If you don't put your name on a page, how can I grade it? How do I know it's yours? If I look at your notebook, how do I know? Especially if you haven't given me the URL. What am I supposed to do? So the other part of this is I need the URL from that particular page. That's what you will submit. in your assignment here for Canvas. The URL to that page. And that page better have all the information on it: your name, the book title, the author, the session. This is due tomorrow night at midnight, ladies and gentlemen. Should not take you long. Remember to include images, graphics, backgrounds. You can only, notice it says submitting a website URL. That's the only way you can submit it. Don't send me the URL in email. Submit it in Canvas. All right, so we've covered the Learning Farm. Now, did we cover the Learning Farm? No, I need to do the Learning Farm for you. I'm sorry. So, Learning Farm and how to submit it. I showed you this before. Here's Sam's page, and here's his determining theme. So I click on that. And this shows me his score. It shows me what his assignment was, how many questions he answered, and what his percentage was. So I'm going to hit down the control button, and the button that has the rectangle and the two vertical lines, it's right above usually the 6. You hold those two down, and there's your screenshot. That's the screenshot you send me. Do not screenshot the Google form. Many of you did that. That doesn't tell me anything, ladies and gentlemen. I need this. This goes into the Google form. In your form, at the bottom, it says to add a file. So you're going to click add a file, and you're going to find that screenshot in your drive under recent. Okay, there it is. Now I can see that it's a picture and not just a black bar, so I'm okay. So then you go back to the Google form, add the file, and then it'll tell you to choose a file, and you come back and choose this file. If you just send me a screenshot of your Google form, you've not told me anything. So make sure you do it correctly, ladies and gentlemen. You're in 8th grade. If you can't figure out some simple directions by now, there are some concerns. Now, the last thing I want to talk about today is the iReady MOY. The iReady MOY is only available during school hours. The MOY is only available during school hours. You should have completed it yesterday. Many, many, many of you haven't even bothered to start it. Shame on you. And don't rush through it. Do your best. The better you do, the fewer lessons you have, ladies and gentlemen. But that's what I want you to spend your time on. It's got to get done, because on Monday, you have the math MOY, and you will still have the reading looming. So please get it done. And that is all I have to say for now. I'm sure I will talk to many of you tomorrow. So T2 out.